Welcome back to another episode of the Sports and More podcast with Eddie Morelos. Today is Tuesday, October 6th. We're here in the studio again, located in the downtown spaces, which is at 522 San Francisco Avenue in the heart of downtown El Paso. Come check out the venue and see how Mr. David Chen and his group can help meet all your office needs or all your entrepreneur needs. We want to remind you to give our Facebook page a like and our Twitter page a follow. You can find us on Facebook by searching Sports and More Podcast and on Twitter by searching for the handle Sports and More POD. Again, that's Sports and More POD. On today's episode of the Sports and More Podcast with Eddie Morelos, we will look at all the pro sports going on and as well as some local sports and the issues that are going on here. We will also talk to a member of the Las Vegas Raiders organization about this past week's game and the happenings around the NFL. Andy, did you watch NFL this week?
I did. Well, a little bit last night, Mr. Showtime coming out there, putting on a spectacle.
Well, whenever we talk to this wonderful friend of ours, we'll introduce him whenever we bring him on. But we'll make sure to talk about Aaron Jones and my now unlucky Chicago Bears, as well as some other teams around the NFL. But it's October. We're already here in October. October's here, and that means October baseball. Wow. But my Cubbies are out.
Already out. They're already out.
Yeah. So right now we've got the division series going on already, Andy, and the Tampa Bay Rays are taking on the New York Yankees. I believe the Yankees pulled it off last night. Oakland A's against the Houston Astros. In the other series, Houston won yesterday. I believe it was a lot of home runs in that game, if I'm not mistaken. And then on the NL side, we got the Dodgers and the Padres.
Slam Diego, everybody. Slam Diego.
Yeah, and then as well as the Miami Marlins taking on the Atlanta Braves, who, to me, I think the Marlins look like they might be the hottest team on that side of the bracket. So
supposedly every time they enter, they haven't lost a postseason series. Is that correct?
I would have to look that up, but that would be very interesting. And yeah. Anyways, they beat the Cubs. Marlins beat the Cubs, and I'm a little bit bitter about that. Cubbies, they lost their. They say you got to get hot at the right time. Well, Cubbies got cold at the wrong time, so.
But technically, this would have been like mid-season form, because there's just been so many games,
Yeah, I guess, but it doesn't really matter because they're out. So baseball's going on. I kind of I wouldn't say that I lose interest, but I'm not as excited about it. I love baseball, so I'll watch the games. But I don't get extremely excited the way I typically do it when the Cubs are in it.
So who do you think is gonna,
Okay, so some people are probably gonna want to fight me, but I'm now rooting for the Slam Diego Padres.
Slam Diego,
Mr. Fernando Tatis. I mean, come on, he's the 21-year-old shortstop hitting him out the park.
Bat flipping like crazy too.
He's got a nice bat flip, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah, so I'm rooting for the Padres.
Him and Machado, that's a pretty big combination right there.
Oh yeah, and then to think about some of the other players that have come through the farm system of the El Paso Chihuahuas that have either played for the Padres in the past or that are currently playing, it's a really cool thing. So the Padres looking good. I really hope that they can do something against the Dodgers and make it interesting. The Dodgers, of course, are probably the most talented team in the MLB right now. But you just never know. The Padres could pull something off and make some history. So
hopefully we can make it to the ship.
And then switching gears from baseball to basketball, the basketball NBA. They're in the finals already with the Lakers taking on the Heat.
That's right. It's going pretty fast, right? I mean, it's already on game 4, I believe we're about to.
Yeah, the Lakers are up 2-1. The Heat came out and Jimmy Butler. I don't know if you watched any of that game, but I watched it. And Jimmy Butler was unstoppable.
Really?
I mean, LeBron couldn't stop him. And then I was very disappointed because at the end of the game, LeBron walked off the court. There was still like 0.7 seconds, whatever it is, but still the game wasn't over. And LeBron walked off the court. They had to get somebody off the bench because they weren't going to start the game without 5 players from each team on the court. So they had to stop the game, get somebody off the bench, and bring somebody just onto the court so they can get that last second. But to me, that was kind of unsportsmanlike on LeBron's end. And
But I've seen players do that before, though. I mean, it's not like I guess the Pistons at the end, when it was the game clinching game, but I mean, game's over, you're going back in. I mean,
I just don't know if it's a good example to give to the kids. I just, finish what you started, they say, and that goes even in losing. Be a good loser. And that's the way I see it. Is LeBron such a role model that he should have finished it off.
Remember, he's human.
He is.
Okay.
He is human.
All right.
Let me go ahead and just mention this that I'm not the biggest of LeBron fans.
But you are.
I'm a Lakers fan. I'm a Lakers fan,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been kind of hard to just really get into it with LeBron leading the way. So, but Lakers and Heat continue on. I believe they do play tonight. They have been showing it on ABC, so I'll hopefully get to watch that one again tonight. And switching gears now to some local action. The Locomotive, some soccer. The El Paso Locomotive, who we just had the play-by-play guy, Duke Keith, on last week.
The legend, Mr. Keith.
Yeah, that was a fun episode, by the way. I really enjoyed having him on, and good for the El Paso Locomotive. Good for Duke Keith, the El Paso Locomotive. They sealed the top seed of Group C with a 4-0 win over Real Monarchs, and that was this past Sunday. So El Paso dominated, and apparently throughout the whole match, and good for them. They're moving on, and they're the top seed in that group for the playoffs. So I believe Duke was mentioning it last week that they're going to play here in town now.
Yes, I believe it's this Saturday. Tickets are already maxed out.
Oh wow!
From what I last, because I don't know the exact count that they're doing, but they're already maxed out. But it's gonna be streamed. Don't know the channel.
I wonder if credentials are maxed out.
Not sure.
I'll become a part of the Los Photogs.
Oh,
I'll fix my old Nikon.
You can use mine.
Hey, you won't be there?
No, I have a wedding to photograph.
I mean, there he is, ladies and gentlemen. Isa Costa, from sports to weddings. He does it all.
A little bit.
So yeah, and then like I said, congratulations to the Locomotive. Catch the game while it's already sold out, so I guess you'll have to catch online. But keep an eye out. They could win and play here again. Who knows? So just stay up to date. Get on their website, and then so switching gears from football to football, we look at high school football here in El Paso, Texas, and started last weekend. And I know that my buddy Ace here was running and gunning all around the city, covering some games. And tell me about your experiences last week. What did you guys do for the listeners that don't realize the great service that you and now the El Paso Herald Post are providing?
We have a brand new Friday night show called Herald Post End Zone. We'll be broadcasting live off of the El Paso Herald Post site. We'll be with Mondo, the Monster Medina, our editor, Chris Babcock, and the Hall of Fame coach, Tony Grijada. Live broadcast. We'll be doing live look-ins, score updates, some play-by-play. We have our reporters out at the game, and we can do live look-ins with them throughout the whole. It's about a 3-hour show, starting at 7 p.m. and, going towards the last game. So you can pop on in, maybe see your team out there, get some recap and analysis, and obviously see the scoreboard out there. Something new that I guess El Paso hasn't really done, like an actual true live broadcast.
It was pretty cool. I hopped on, I got online, and I knew you guys were doing that. So I jumped on the Facebook page, and I was watching, the commentators, Mondo Medina, and Chris and Coach, as you mentioned, and it was really cool. You guys had a basically a headquarters set up here at the downtown spaces, if I'm not mistaken, 522
Mm-hmm.
San Francisco, and it's again they have so many amenities here at the downtown spaces that you could set up a little studio and conduct a show that was
Mm-hmm.
like happened this past week, and it'll happen every Friday, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct, Dan?
Every Friday, not Thursdays yet, but every Friday you'll be broadcasting live, um, which is good. I mean, it's a cool. Everything's going to be streamed now, especially with all the new restrictions that have been taking place that got pretty much hit with us on game day. It's a good way to get some live look-ins. Picture like what the NFL does with their red zone,
There
stuff
you
like
go,
that.
ladies and gentlemen. Uh, Tune in on Friday night and check out the live show that Mr. Ace here helps put on. And you get live updates of any and all schools here in El Paso, Texas. So, but moving from high school to college now, we check out that UTEP is heading into this week's matchup. 3-1, they have a winning record heading into the weekend where they'll take on Louisiana Tech over in Ruston, Louisiana. And I don't know if you've ever been to Ruston, Ace, but I love
Yeah.
Ruston.
What's good about Ruston?
The food is amazing in Ruston. The people are nice. They're very friendly. They remind me of El Pasoans and New Mexicans, very, very friendly people there in Louisiana. Um, and it's really cool to think that the current football SID for UTEP
Mm-hmm.
was formerly employed by Louisiana Tech, and so she now gets to go visit her former home and as the Miners 3-1 Miners take on Louisiana Tech. Do you know? I don't. I'm not 100% sure, Andy. I didn't look it up, but who how does Louisiana Tech rank in the conference?
I don't know what their official rank is, but they've always been
They've been
up
on
there.
the top,
Yeah,
from
I
what I
mean, UTEP's
remember.
had their chances. UTEP's had their chances to you know put it past them, but those games are always going to be good battles. And of course, with the new Mister, I guess they're calling him Dion Tankins,
That's what I keep
right? He's
hearing over and over. Yes.
he's ranked in the top five, and Justin Garrett as well in receiving yards. So it's good to see the Miners get that momentum.
Oh yeah, and they do have some momentum right now, and the good thing is that they've had a good week to get healthy. So good luck to the Miners. You can go to utepminers.com to get all the information to see how you can follow them. But we're going to go ahead and switch gears now from college football and talk about some NFL football. And this is where we're going to go ahead and introduce today's guest, who is now coming on with us via the web. And we'd like to go ahead and introduce Mr. Harry Ruiz, who is the commentator Spanish radio broadcast for the Las Vegas Raiders.
I say, Harry.
What's up, Betty? What's up, Base? How you guys doing? I just wanted to chime in. You guys were talking about Ruston, Louisiana. I actually have my two favorite places in Conference USA were Tulsa and Southern Mississippi to go eat out there. So I just wanted to chime in when I was hearing you guys talk about Ruston. Ruston's cool, but Southern Miss and Tulsa, I like those places
What
a
did you
little bit
eat
more.
whenever you went over to Southern Miss?
Oh, barbecue, man.
Okay.
Mamalitas. Yeah,
Okay.
that was one of Tim Floyd's favorite spots. They actually have a photo of him up there. Brett Favre's. He used to go out there too because he was a Southern Miss Golden Eagle. So they got pictures of all the famous people that have gone out there. It's Hattiesburg, Mississippi. So if you're
Okay.
out there, you're there for work, and it's definitely one of the best spots out there.
That's awesome. I always enjoyed the good old Cajun food down in Ruston, and they had these homely type spots, real hole in the wall type spots, and all the best stuff over there. So yeah, I get it, man. That's cool, and we're
Well,
very
when two,
blessed in our profession to get to travel and try all these wonderful spots.
I don't know if you went to New Orleans when Utah played against Tulane, but they Dragos. The oysters there were amazing. Sorry, we went from talking football to talking food. My bad, boys.
That's what happens with the media people. You're talking either two things, either sports or food. So
Exactly, right? Exactly. No, and that's a cool thing. You guys are great friends. I was out there in December with Ace, and we had some cometa while doing Taco Tuesday with Ace. So it's
Oh, that sounds so good right now.
that's one
wait,
thing.
what were you doing with Ace?
Taco Tuesday with Ace, his podcast. Oh my god, we had such a great time. It was awesome.
Harry, settle this debate. Is it Taco Tuesday or Thai Tuesday?
So with Ace, it's Taco Tuesday. With Eddie, it's Thai Tuesday, and I feel terrible because I'm not wearing one. But I'm sorry about that.
I got the Good Edos t-shirt on right here. Shout out to Pro.
Hey, it's all
Nice.
good. It's all good. You got your Raiders gear on. I was able to watch the game this past week. It was an exciting game, I'll say that. My brother is a diehard Raiders fan, Mondo Morelos. He's a diehard, I'm telling you. I got a lot of family members. A buddy of mine who lives around the block from me. I went to his house last night, and he's got the Raiders logo. A lot of Raiders people here in the El Paso area. So a lot of people are really excited to hear from you,
Yeah,
Harry.
thank you.
But just to take a step back real quick, to hear a little bit about yourself and how you made it to this point. I believe I met you originally when you were doing Spanish radio for the UTEP minors, and I was overworking as an SID at New Mexico State. And that was back in maybe 2012-ish. Is that
You got it exactly right, man. That's how we met. You working with the Aggies, I was working with the Miners, and I'm pretty sure it was the first football game between both teams at the Sun Bowl, and that's where we met. And then, of course, we bumped into each other when the Hoops teams faced each other, and that's where I first got to know the mayor. And after that, it's been a good friendship, and that's the cool thing about El Paso and the borderland. It's great people, and despite me not being in El Paso since 2017, living there, I still love going out there for vacation pre-COVID and having good times with my friends. I remember hanging out with Ace and with Jorge Salgado, going out there for once I landed. First thing we did, we went and had food and talked with each other. The borderland is filled with great people, and that's one thing that if I ever have a chance to go back, I'll probably be back there to work.
Yeah, it's very unique here where we've talked about it on our previous episodes, where the people just come together. And El Paso is so unique in that sense where the friendships are built, on careers like ours, you know what I mean? And where we all come together and just get to do great things, get to do things like this and create content and help each other out. So you started your career, if I'm not mistaken, as an anchor with Televisa, and you also from there you went on doing play-by-play for the minors. Talk about the difference of working first for a news organization and then going and working for someone like a university.
So when I was out there in Mexico, in my parents' hometown of Torreon, Coahuila, I was at Televisa and started literally as an intern and ended up as a sports coordinator by the time I left. And it's a real cool experience, and it's completely different from the States where over here football is king. In Mexico, soccer is king, and it's every week for 10 months out of the year, you're covering First Division Soccer, Liga MX with Santos Laguna. That's a team I used to cover out there. And making trips, getting to know the fans, getting to know the players. It's a cool experience, and you're focused on creating content exclusively for the team, for the TV station. But I also had the chance to do play-by-play in Spanish for the basketball team, but that was a little shorter season than the soccer season. Covered the baseball team, but it was mainly focused on the soccer team. And I was at one point I was doing a newscast that started at 6:20 in the morning. I was doing a radio newscast at 8 in the morning. I would finish the newscast at 9, the TV one, and then in the afternoon at 1 o'clock, and then at night at 9, and then a TV show at 9:30, and then I would start producing the morning newscast at 10 p.m. Got home at 1 a.m. and then was back at the station by 6 a.m. And that's why I say I'm an old soul, because when I was real young, I was working 15, 16-hour days, and now I'm like, You know what? I like to wake up a little bit later because I stay up a little bit late at night. So if I don't get my 8 hours in, I can't function right. But
8 hours.
yeah, I was.
Whoa, whoa, 8 hours.
Yeah,
Wow.
dude. If I don't get 8 hours of sleep, I don't function right. But yeah,
I'm with you, man.
it's completely different working for a TV station than working with the university. Even though I wasn't a UTEP employee directly, I was working with IMG College. We got full access with the team, and first with Mike Price, Sean Kugler, and the hoops team. The only coach I was there with was Coach Floyd, and then of course Coach Johnson, who was his associate head coach. And it was a real cool experience being there. And also, I don't know if you remember, but I used to juggle. The 3 years I was with UTEP, I was also the sports anchor for Univision out there in El Paso.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up because I remember one time talking to you about when you were the sports anchor for Univision 26, and you had mentioned you were go at that time too. I'll never forget when you brought that up, how just the way you worked, your work ethic is just amazing, Harry. I got to say that, and I give you credit for that. But
Thank you,
I'm
brother.
sure that work ethic helped lead to another gig that you got in 2018. That was with the Las Vegas Lights FC as the director of communications there. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I actually jumped out here to Vegas with Telemundo, the TV station out here in Las Vegas, and that was pretty cool. I was with them for a little bit under a year and a half, and as a boxing fan, I got to cover a couple of Canelo fights. I got to cover the Mayweather-McGregor fight, which was huge, and the important part was also being able to network with the rest of the Telemundo stations, because unlike Univision in El Paso, which is owned by Entravision, Telemundo out here was actually owned by NBC Universal. So I was part of the network, and I was able to, when the big fights were happening, I was doing live shots for San Diego, LA, Denver, Chicago, sending stuff for Miami to use, sending stuff for New York to use. So I was able to put my name out there, put my face out there, even though it's not a good one. I was able to help out a lot of both my career and the TV station. And then after that, I got to work with the Lights, and I got into your world, Eddie, where it was a unique experience, and I'll say it's been my favorite job so far, being able to work the PR side of things. And instead of having to cover 10 different sources, you are the source. You're focused on one thing and one thing only, which is a team that pays the bills.
Trying to convince people like you guys to cover my events is sometimes a tough task. Just kidding. But whenever I work with the best media around now, it's an easy job, and I love my job.
Just have food and we'll be there.
There it is.
Saying.
Yep, there it is,
dude. So I actually tried to shout out to Mark Bruner, who he always used to do this thing that I remember, Ace, that you were there in the past too, that he did the penalty kick challenge with the media, with the UTEP soccer team. And I try to convince my boss for a year and a half, let's do this, it's fun. Yeah. And then just have some taco truck and they'll come. But we used to do some cool media events preseason wise for fans to come out and know what we're doing, announce our promotions, let them know about our schedule the week before our first game. And it's true, man, if you have food, they'll come. But it's different. For example, out here in Vegas, they got the Golden Knights, which are super popular. They're the talk of the town in the NHL Hockey League. And now that they have the Raiders, it's like they got two teams that are in two of the top 4 leagues in the world. And now a second division soccer team, they struggle to get the media coverage. But, hey, you got to find fun ways to have people out. I mean, the first year they threw $5,000 out of a helicopter. We had every TV station in town out here. Year 2, they threw out $10,000 out of the helicopter. Year 3, we had cool things planned out. Unfortunately, the pandemic ended up throwing us a curveball there.
Yeah, that's it's very unfortunate with all the things going on. And we might touch a little bit about that here in a few minutes. But we keep talking about food, and I gotta know, what is your favorite food spot in El Paso? Gotta know.
It's easy. So number 1, it's El Cometa. Those flautas are the best, and it seems like every time I go to El Paso, before even getting my hotel room, I always land, get my rental car, and go to El Cometa. I remember, I think the first time I came back, I was there with Ace and with Jorge. The second time I went back. I was there with Cesar Contreras, the current news sports anchor for Univision, Jesus Rosales, Cinta de Oro, Héctor Urrutia. I was like, hey, I just landed. You guys want to go to El Cometa? And they're like, hey, we'll just change and head out there. And bam, table of 6 right immediately because I wanted to get some flautas. So number 1 is El Cometa. Number 2, Tacos Don Cuco. Their tripa tacos are the best. Besides the tripas from Torreon, Tacos Don Cuco are the number 2, my 2 favorite in the whole world. So they're the only ones that when you ask them to have them extra crispy, they actually go extra crispy. So those are my 2 spots, El Cometa and Tacos Don Cuco.
Well, I'll definitely be visiting one of those 2 spots here coming up this weekend. So I got to help out with some UTEP volleyball on Saturday. So we'll see which one I choose that day.
Hey, send me some in an Uber, please.
Let's see here. What is your favorite sporting event that you've either just attended as a fan or covered as a journalist here in El Paso?
Okay, in El Paso. So it's super random, but there was a UTEP versus Florida Atlantic basketball game that the Miners lost by 2 points, but it was the first blackout game that they had at the Don Haskins Center. I don't remember if it was in 2013 or 2014, but the Miner Maniacs did an amazing job. Shout out to Chris, shout out to Joe, shout out to Lou. That group that had the Miner Maniacs back then was amazing, and they hooked me up with one of the black t-shirts that, of course, I rocked that day, and the environment was crazy awesome, and the Miners actually, CJ Cooper had a three-pointer from half court that barely missed. If he had knocked it down, it would have been a win for the Miners by 1 point. So it was a very good game, and the environment was great. So I'll have to go with that one. It's super random, but I'll go with that one. But I was there for the Chihuahuas' first game at their new stadium. I was there for UTEP versus OU was my first game calling Miner games. So there's a lot of cool stories there. The last El Diablos game at Cohen Stadium, that was cool as well. But super random, UTEP versus FAU.
That's pretty cool. That's a cool memory. And now you can use that black shirt whenever you go to work. You just put your Raiders hat on and you'll be matching. So
exactly. Hey, silver and black. That's the way we go. And now a little bit of orange for the UTEP.
Yes, sir. Ace, what do you got for our buddy here?
Now, how has it been, obviously, being a Raider fan and seeing your team come to Vegas? I mean, I know the tailgating experience you can't experience yet, but from what you told me how the tailgating experience in Oakland was, that was a sight itself, right?
Dude, that's the number one reason why I wanted them to stay in Oakland. Plus, the stadium was old, was ugly, and it wasn't really ours, but we felt like it was ours. It's like when fans don't travel to Oakland to watch their teams, and now that they're in Vegas, fans are definitely going to travel to Vegas. Like, we played New Orleans and we played the Bills, and I knew of friends of mine who were Saints fans that were going to come out here. I knew friends of mine who were Bills fans that were going to come out here, and they didn't because the game became a closed door match. But at the end of the day, the stadium is amazing. It's incredible. I can't wait for the doors to open for fans. And super weird also, Ace, like I started seeing on social media, I think in April, the players were practicing in a park. And I'm like, what the hell? I ended up finding what park it was. And I just showed up one day like at 10 a.m. and I was in my car from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. with the AC on. I'm like, yeah, I guess it's the wrong park. I was about to take off and then I see Derek Carr walking by. I was like, oh, snap. Then it is a park. So
is it far from the stadium where they were practicing at?
They were probably 15 minutes, 20 minutes away. So the thing with Vegas is it's the same as El Paso. The farthest thing that you're going to go to is 30 minutes. So that's a huge advantage. And it was literally 10 minutes away from my apartment. And I was like, yeah, you know what? Rock a Raider shirt, rock a Raider hat, go to the park. And the first day I was there was some media there and the players were trying to send them back, and they were like, hey, no, guys, don't record us, go away. There was a news helicopter there recording practice, and I was there as a fan. I was just sitting in one of the benches, and after the practice, I was like, hey, can I take a picture with you guys, socially distanced? It's like, yeah, sure. And I got to meet most of the players, and they were pretty cool.
How was that? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, one thing about Harry always has the inside, whether it be luck, whether the autographs, he'll know where the superstars or anybody's gonna meet. And I mean, you got to plan it early. But if you want to get them signatures and everything, Harry's the man to contact, right, Harry?
Preparation is key, brother. You gotta know what. So that's I would always wear a hat with the silver brim. That way, in case I meet anybody from the Raiders at Oakland, I would just take out my marker and they would sign my hat. And that's how I got Jim Plunkett. I got Lincoln Kennedy. I got a lot of people that were just walking through the tailgates, and I was like, bam, there they are. I didn't know I was gonna meet them, but hey, you always got to be prepared.
Right.
So you got to, well, and of course now you get to meet Derek Carr. My very first office mate in this business that I'm in now, over at New Mexico State. He went on and was the SID at Fresno State. So he got to work side by side with Derek Carr throughout his college career. And he always told me that. I asked him, hey, how is it? How is that, promoting Derek Carr, Heisman, this, and all those things? What is that like with Derek Carr? He said, it's good. I mean, Derek Carr's a great dude, easy to work with. How about you, Harry? What's your experience been like working with or chatting with Derek Carr?
So the situation right now is there's tiers with media that can cover the team in person, and when they do, they're actually at practice for like 15-20 minutes inside the facility, and then they leave. So there's no man-to-man or woman-to-man interaction with any players, from reporters, play-by-play announcers, or anything with the team. So the only way that I've been able to see the players is like everybody else, through Zoom, through YouTube. It's pretty weird. Like, I remember when I was with the Miners, I would just hang out at practice. At times I would take pictures. At times I would just watch. And then at the end of practice, the players would come by. And I always tell everybody, it's like, of course I know Aaron Jones. Of course I know Roy Robertson Harris and Will Hernandez that are now in the NFL. But I know, like them, I know the rest of the roster of guys that didn't make the NFL and are good people now. Like Nathan Jeffrey, who's now coaching with Eastwood, who's a great guy. He was a running back before Aaron Jones came by, LaQuintus Dowell and Mike Edwards, and we could keep going on and on and on with all the players that I met. And of course, the three guys that everybody knows are the ones in the NFL, and the rest maybe they don't recognize, but hey, they're good kids, and that's at the end of the day what we know them as, not the players, but as the people. Once you get the one-on-one time with them, and unfortunately, I haven't been able to get some one-on-one time with the current players since I took the position. I got to talk with a couple of them during those informal practice, and they were cool, good guys. I mean, most of them were, that they would take their times to sign an autograph or take a picture with the fans, trying to practice social distance as much as possible. And they're good people.
Harry, can you go ahead and let us know and let the listeners know in particular, what is your official title with the Las Vegas Raiders?
So I'm the color analyst for the Spanish radio broadcasts on the Raiders radio network. So it's not only here in Vegas, where the flagship station is 1460 AM Deportes Vegas, but it airs also in LA, in the Bay Area, San Francisco, Oakland, San Diego, Bakersfield, Fresno, and also in Reno out here in Nevada. And before every game, I'll always post a link where you can listen to it online as well. So we've been getting listeners from Mexico, from the East Coast, from Chicago, all over the West Coast. What I say all the time is, like, the Raider Nation, man, it's not of Oakland. It's not of Los Angeles. It's not of Las Vegas. The Raider Nation is worldwide. So it's incredible how far the silver and black goes. And I also got that side project the side project that Ace is putting right there on the screen right now. It's La Nacion Raider. It's social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, 100% in Spanish, with 100% of the content dedicated about the Raiders. And to my knowledge, I'm the only person doing it from Las Vegas. So direct from the source, where they're putting up content about the Raider Nation, for the Raider Nation, by the Raider Nation.
So you're going to have the inside scoop before a lot of other people, especially on the Spanish-speaking side.
Absolutely. And yeah, that's something that people from Mexico probably don't get, the bilingual content that gets put out there. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to give it to them in Spanish. I work the radio broadcast in Spanish, so I might as well be able to put it out there. And a lot of opportunities have been coming by because I'm doing the Raiders Spanish radio, with people reaching out to to talk about the Raiders. Like yesterday, was it yesterday? Yeah, Sunday. Sunday, I did an interview with the Review Journal, a local newspaper that they're also creating TV content right now. I did an interview with them. I did an interview with the local ABC affiliate out here. The newspaper out there from Torreon, they want to talk about the Raiders broadcast as well, and it's very cool. And that's one thing I told the boss when we had our first meeting. I'm like, hey man, if there's one team I can just talk about without sweating, as the Raiders. I mean, if I had to start calling the Packers games, then I would have to go and learn the roster from 1 to 53. The Raiders, I know the roster from 1 to 53 in the practice squad because they're my team. It's
So
easy
all
for me.
my primos that are listening to this podcast over in California and LA in particular, you can tune in and hear Mr. Harry on La Mera Mera 980 AM. 980 AM, La Mera Mera in Los Angeles, California. So hopefully some of my primos will go ahead and listen to you. And those primos are also last name Ruiz. So hey,
they're my primos now too.
There we go. A world full of primos, Andy.
All right, that's a new thing right there. Now, Harry, remember when I was in Vegas out there? You took us drove by when the stadium was getting built. Now that it's complete, how crazy is that stadium, man?
So I'll bring this up. I think in May I started taking some walks. I was quarantined, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna walk around and kill an hour just walking. And I went from doing it here in my apartment complex to then doing it around the neighborhood. And I was like, you know what? It's late at night. The stadium there's no people around. There's nobody outside building it. So I just walk around, and I would park and walk 40 minutes around the stadium. It's amazing. And that's still in April when there was construction going on. So I would do it at least once every 2 weeks, just walk around the stadium. And it was amazing how they would have progress there every 2 weeks that I would walk by. And then when they finally took down the fences, when they completed the construction and you were able to get closer and you would be able to be on the sidewalk instead of just through the outside of the fence, dude, it's incredible. On the outside, dude, Mark Davis calls it the Death Star. And there's people who try to make fun of us and say it looks like a Roomba, but nah, dude, once you get there and you get close to it and see it, it's amazing. I mean, of course, SoFi Stadium in LA is a $4 billion project. This one's a $1.8 billion project, so it's not as big or amazing as that one. But in my opinion, it's one of the best stadiums in the NFL.
Well, I got to get a glance of it right when everything was hitting the pandemic in March, as I was helping out with the WAC tournament right there at the Orleans, which is literally you can walk from the Orleans to the stadium. So it's in a really cool spot, and I cannot wait to hopefully one day get to a game there in Las Vegas to watch. Hopefully, maybe the Raiders taking on the Bears, and you never know, the Bears could get lucky like they have early on. So one day soon, Harry.
Hopefully, man. Hopefully. And there's people. So, for example, friends of mine ask me, it's like, why don't you just go? If I'm in Dallas and the Cowboys are playing the Eagles, why don't you go to the game? I'm like, because I don't care about the Eagles and the Cowboys. If I'm going to end up paying $200 and $300 to go to an NFL game, you better believe it's going to be a Raider game. I'm not going to go to pay that kind of money for just two random teams playing. And sorry. So I said the Cowboys, and it's El Paso, and everybody's going to jump on my social media and go crazy. So if I was in Philly and the Eagles were playing the Washington football team, I wouldn't go to that game either. So sorry, all the Cowboys fans. And which, by the way, it's something I found out once I got to El Paso. Over there, you're either a Cowboy fan or a Cowboy hater. Mm-hmm. Cowboy fans, I'm not a Cowboy hater. I just don't care about your team. So
pretty bad.
I'm a Cowboy hater.
There you exactly. That's how it is in El Paso.
Ace.
Now, Harry. I don't know if Eddie knows about this, but you recently won a raffle. Do you have that thing nearby? I don't know if Eddie, you know this. Harry, like I said, one of the luckiest.
That football?
No. So this football, I actually got it signed by Jim Plunkett, George Atkinson,
wow,
and Lester Hayes. I got that signed in a charity event for the Raiders, but I won this. It's a stadium replica.
Stadium replica.
Yeah.
Look at that.
And it actually has the autumn wind playing when you open it. It's lit up and everything. And in here, so it's
Season
actually
tickets, right?
the gift that it's the gift that the season ticket holders got when they were supposed to get, because it has like the tickets for all the games they were supposed to use this year. So obviously,
Wow.
if they open the doors for the games, these tickets aren't valid and they'll just use them digitally. But I already got plans for all these tickets. Like, what is it? Game 3 was the first game that they opened. So, for example, this one is the game against the Saints. I'm going to try to get it signed by Alec Ingold, the Raiders fullback. He scored the first Raiders touchdown in Allegiant Stadium history. And then this one is game 4 right there. This was a game against the Bills, and I'm going to try to get it signed by Derek Carr and have him inscribe most touchdowns in Raiders history as a quarterback, because he broke Ken Stabler's record on Sunday. So every ticket is going to have its own little meaning. And I bought, I think, 6 tickets for $50, and I ended up winning it. A friend of mine in Kukui, he did the raffle, and that day I was at the gym. I forgot about the raffle, and he just hits me up. I was like, "Hey, dude, congrats, you won." I'm like, "What? What did I win?" I was like, "No way, the raffle?" Yeah, I was like, "Great, hey, something more for my backdrop over here."
Right. If you see his backdrop, Harry's got a lot of.
Yeah. So for those of you that are listening into the podcast, if you want to see all the wonderful stuff that Harry has, you can find a link on our Facebook page or on our Twitter page at Sports and More POD, and you can see all the wonderful stuff that Harry has. Harry, I gotta ask, does Coach Gruden speak Spanish?
No, I'm pretty sure he doesn't. I'm pretty sure nobody in the Raiders speaks Spanish. I was actually trying to get a former Raider, Ted Hendricks, to come on the broadcast for Hispanic Heritage Month. I haven't heard back since I requested the interview, because to my knowledge, he's one of the very few Raiders that speak Spanish, because even Tom Flores and Jim Plunkett, who are historic in the Hispanic community for the Raiders Super Bowl winners, I don't think they speak Spanglish either. So I'm Ted Hendricks. He's my one hope. I interviewed him once out here in Vegas during a charity event, a golf tournament. Well, it's not a tournament. It was a celebrity swing at Topgolf. And I asked one of the PR guys, I was like, "Hey, any former Raider that speaks Spanish?" He's like, "Hey, Ted Hendricks. He's Guatemalan." Of course. And he was great. He spoke Spanish. So I'm trying to get him on the air. But I got some side projects going on, and I'm going to try to be doing interviews with Hispanic fans who are pretty popular. So that's the route. When the players don't speak Spanish, you got to go with the fans.
You got to get the fans in there. What is it? The black hole, right? Is that what?
Yeah, the black hole they got. So of course I'm going to be integrating some of the Mexico City chapter of the black hole. I got a good friend, Gabriel, who actually lives out here in Vegas too. That's a cool story. When I covered the Raider game in Mexico City, Raiders against Patriots in 2017, I contacted the president of the Mexico chapter of the Black Hole, and I'm like, "Hey, can we do an interview? We'll do it over Skype." He's like, "Sure. Where do you live?" I'm like, "I live in Vegas." He's like, "I live in Vegas too." I was like, perfect. We ended up in the same flight on our way to Mexico and everything. So he lives out here, but the presence of the Raiders in Mexico is incredible. That's what I was looking at, some of the numbers on La Nacion Raiders Facebook page, and I think I got like a lot of people out here in Vegas, but a lot of people in El Paso too. By the way, thank you for following me from out there in the Sun City. But more than half of them are from Mexico, who are hungry for information about the Raiders in Spanish, and they think it's pretty cool that I'm actually out here in Vegas giving them the information and not just taking whatever comes out of the Twitter pages of the beat writers and translating it to Spanish and putting it out there.
So the Raiders are 2-2 after this past week. They fell to the Buffalo Bills. Again, I thought it was an exciting game. We want to hear your take on so far the season. 500, was this something that was expected? Do we expect to be 4-0? What was the expectations and where they're at now?
So when the schedule came out, Eddie, as a Raider fan, because I still didn't have the job, I was like, man, we'll be lucky if we go into our bye week, which is after the next game, 1-5, because we got a murderer's row of opponents. I mean, Carolina, even though it wasn't Cam Newton playing with them, it was Teddy Bridgewater, and it's on the road, and the Raiders don't do well on the East Coast. So I was like, that one's going to be tough, but if we're going to win one game out of the first 5, it's going to be that one. New Orleans, of course, they want that game to start the new stadium, but heck, it's Drew Brees. We ain't gonna win that one. And then you went with the next game on the road against the Patriots. It's like, hey, it's Bill Belichick. We ain't gonna win that one. And then you went with the next one, Buffalo. It's like, hey, Josh Allen looked good last season, and they got an amazing defense. We're not gonna win that one. And then the Chiefs, we're not gonna win that one. I was like, hey, we'll be lucky if we end up with one win. So as a fan, I thought it was gonna be a 1-4 start. Right now we're 2-2. And the way I'm looking at it, Eddie, is that the first two games, we looked like the Las Vegas Raiders, a brand new team, a team that was disciplined, something we're not used to as Raider fans that we had. Dude, we had 3 penalties in both of our first 2 games. We're usually in double digits in penalties. So I was shocked with that situation. And then we also took care of the football. The one turnover we had in the game against the Saints, we got the ball right back. Our defense did a good job. I was like, maybe that's all we needed to do, get out of Oakland and have maybe being in Las Vegas, the refs don't hate us that much. And then the last 2 games, we looked like the Oakland Raiders from the last 3 seasons, being careless with the football. I don't want to say that word. So careless penalties that we had a 3-and-out against the Patriots in their second offensive series. And on the punt, one of our defensive ends jumps and it's an offsides, and that gives the Patriots a new set of downs. And it's like those little kind of things that you're shooting yourself in the foot. So that's my comparison. The first 2 games were the Las Vegas Raiders, brand new team. The last 2 games, we were the Oakland Raiders, where we were committing the same mistakes as the last 3 years. And I hope this game against the Chiefs, I don't know if you heard Derek Carr, but he said, dude, I'm tired of losing. I'm tired. I don't want to lose anymore. So I want him to come out with an edge, and hopefully we also get healthy, because we're missing 2 of our 3 offensive linemen. We're missing our top wide receiver. He's in the season-ending IR. Our next 2 wide receivers, which are rookies, were hurt and didn't play last game. So if we can get at least one of those guys back, it'll make a huge difference.
Well, I got to say that they have played, Bills are 4-0, and then they got to take on the Chiefs this week, 4-0. Mahomes, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. So what do the Raiders got to do to stop on defense? What do they got to do to stop a Mahomes and a Chiefs offense?
So they would have to hire Bill Belichick right now and try to take care of them like the Patriots did last night and limited them for most of 3 quarters. That's what they would have to do, because defensively the Raiders are struggling. Damon Arnett, who entered the season as their top cornerback, and he's a first rounder this year, so a rookie as well there in the top spot. He got injured. He aggravated his thumb injury, and he got surgery, so he's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. And we're just patching everywhere on the field, man. And fortunately, we got Nick Witkowski back. He's one of our middle linebackers that we signed as a free agent this year, and he helped out a lot against the run. After being allowed 250 yards on the ground by the Patriots this week, I think they didn't even get to 60, the Bills. So that helped out a lot, having Nick back there, and hopefully defensively the Raiders are going to be able to do a better job with their cornerbacks, because John Gruden said it yesterday. It's like, dude, we had a play where we were man-to-man coverage, but 2 of our players were doing zone, and that's how they scored a touchdown. So of course, when you have that kind of mistakes, it's going to hurt your team very bad. So they got to try to play mistake-free. But my main point is going to be the offense. We scored too many field goals this past game. Instead of scoring 3, you got to be scoring 7. So instead of just getting to the red zone, you got to go all the way into the end zone.
Well, looks like Ace's team, the Steelers, are 3-0. So they're right ahead of the Cleveland Browns, who played an exciting game against the Dallas Cowboys this past weekend. And it was really cool because my dad is a Cleveland Browns fan, and my mom is a Dallas Cowboys fan. So at some point I turned the TV on and I realized that the game was showing. I didn't realize it was going to be showing. So I started watching, and I decided to call my parents, and I was ahead about 2 seconds from their feed, and it was really cool to watch the Browns do something, a good play, and then wait for 2 seconds and hear my mom Just like, oh no, not again. You know how the Cowboys fans get. And my dad just sitting in the back quietly, loving the victory of the Browns over the Cowboys. So just thought I mentioned that. And
Hey, did your dad have to sleep in the couch on Sunday?
well, no, because it's a very rare occasion that the Browns win. But the Browns do look good this year. I don't know if you've been able to see them at all.
Yeah,
The Browns
absolutely.
look pretty darn good, and I'm excited to see what they could do.
Dude, Nick
Especially
Chubb got
against
hurt.
the Steelers.
Chubb got hurt, and they still ran for 300 yards. Their offensive line is great. They got OBJ and Jarvis Landry. They just need Mayfield to play decent and take care of the football. If they take care of business like that, Myles Garrett defensively, he's a beast. He's the Khalil Mack that the Raiders traded 3 years ago to the Bears. So they got a great squad, and the Raiders actually play them later this year. And I already was looking, and I was like, all right, so Chubb went on the IR. He's going to miss 3 games, and his first game back is going to be against the Raiders. And then I saw it was an MCL, and I was like, okay, so he's not going to play against us. But I was like, already like trying to figure out. I was like, hey, are we going to be able to beat them? Because you don't want to lose against Cleveland, even though they got a great team. The Browns are going to be the Browns. So we'll figure it out. Last year, everybody was betting for them out here in the casinos in Las Vegas, and they lost their money because they trusted the Browns. So I got my fingers crossed. Hopefully we can steal that one against them.
How about your Steelers there, Ace?
Well, I guess the Titans tested positive too much, so that game got postponed. I think all fantasy owners had to scramble, make some changes last minute, but hopefully we look good, as long as injuries don't pile up like they are that you see around the whole league. And Harry, do you think that's because these teams didn't get to work out like they normally did? Because watching that Atlanta Packer game last night, I believe their secondary from Atlanta is just, they're about to call people up from the practice squad and maybe from the XFL because they're short on players out there.
Yeah, dude, 100%. It's because there was no preseason as they should have. Like I was excited when I would go to the informal practices out here in Vegas in the local park when they would do 7-on-7s and you would see the wide receivers going against the linebackers and the cornerbacks and the safeties and all that, but there were no tackles. And the same thing went down during the short weeks of practices that they were able to get in there, and they weren't able to get their first tackles in until like mid-August. And you're talking about a couple of weeks before the season even started. So their bodies weren't ready to get that contact in. And even though there were fans that were saying, it's like, dude, we don't need the preseason. Give us 2 more regular season games and we'll be great with that 18 game regular season. It's like, no, the players actually do need that time to acclimate and feel the hits and get ready for them. And the teammates aren't going to go as hard with friendly fire during practices, but at least like getting those little tackles in are going to help them a lot. And that's why all these injuries are happening. And hopefully the season is just a one and done with this situation with no preseason, and they're able to. And also for Eddie, you used to work for NMSU and I used to be with UTEP. Preseason is a chance for a lot of the guys that go undrafted to show what they got. So a lot of players didn't get their fair shot this year. So hopefully next year everything comes back to normal.
Yeah, it's definitely a different year, and we're seeing the cancellations, the postponements. Even I was reading an article that Kaplowitz put on his website about the postponements and cancellations going on around high school around here in El Paso. And with that said, I just want to remind everybody, let's just do the right things, whether you believe what's going on or not. Let's just do the right things. Wash your hands, use the hand sanitizer, social distance, wear the mask, so that we can continue to have sports. We have sports back. This is our livelihood, and we're grateful to be doing what we do. But again, let's just do the right thing so we can get more sports and get back to some normal way of living of what we used to be at and be attending events. But we got to do our parts. Again, whether we believe it or not, what's going on, let's just do our parts and let the doctors be doctors, and we so we can continue to have fun doing what we do.
Wear your masks, people. I mean, at first it was tough getting masks to wear, but now I got like a Randy Savage Macho Man mask that everybody always gives me props for. I got a Pentagon Junior wrestler luchador face mask, and I just bought like a 2 Raider masks and a Dodgers mask, and it went from okay, what do we do, to hey, it's a fashion statement. You can just show off your team with your face mask everywhere you go to, and it's easy. It's not. I mean, people say it's like, oh, I can't breathe. It's like, you can breathe. It's just help yourself, help each other, and it's not a political statement. It's just a statement that we want to get back to work as soon as possible. And if wearing a face mask is going to help you, do it. I mean, I'm happy that the El Paso Locomotive are allowing like 1,000 fans per game now, and they're going to be in the playoffs, and hopefully they make a deep run. Out here in Las Vegas, the Lights allowed 250 fans for their last home game, and we went from 0 during the whole season to 250, and it made a huge difference, at least seeing some faces in the stands. It looked empty because it's a 10,000 seat stadium, but heck, just having those 250 made our night, just seeing them out there at Cashman Field. So wear your masks, be responsible. Like me, if I'm not going out for work, I'm not going out. So I'm not asking you to not go out at all, but try to limit your interaction with other people if you can, and let's beat this thing.
And that really is one thing for me, is seeing the fans there in the stands, especially when I get to look down from the high press box and just see the smiles and the enjoyment on fans' faces, enjoying the games and the events that we put on. So again, people, just like Mr. Harry said, just do the right thing, and so we can get back and enjoy these things together as fans and workers, and just have some more fun with the sports and more that we're all doing. Ace, anything else for our friend before we let him go?
Just gotta say, Harry, did you see our boy Showtime put that hit on some linebackers last night right there, showing them guns?
Absolutely, man. He's one of the best running backs that can block in the NFL. And I always say, when I watch the Packers games, I'm watching the El Paso Packers, because even though El Paso's a cowboy town, the Packers now have their hearts too because of Aaron Showtime Jones. And I can't wait for this man to get paid. He deserves it. If the Packers don't pay him, you better believe there's going to be teams lined up to show him the money. So congratulations to Aaron Jones, to the Jones family. They deserve the success. Alvin, Verdi, Mr. Aaron Sr., they're a great family, and I'm very happy for them. If there's a family that deserves it, it's theirs, and they're all living that dream through Aaron. And Aaron is he's a class act, man. If there's an athlete that deserved to be in the place that he is and having the success that he's having, it's Aaron. So I'm super happy for him. And I only have one NFL jersey that's not a Raider jersey. It's a New Orleans Saints number 25, Reggie Bush. I'm a USC fan, so when he made it to the NFL, I bought that jersey, and I haven't worn it, but it's there in my closet. And I'm this close to buying an Aaron Jones jersey too. So that Aaron would be number 2.
Well,
there we go.
as a Bears fan, he's convincing me to buy an Aaron Jones T-shirt. So but Aaron Jones is a great guy. He represents the city of El Paso very, very well. Very humble, very hardworking. The kind of person that kind of role models we need around here. So Harry,
And
thank you so
sorry,
much,
Eddie.
man.
So I'm going to interrupt you real quick. So as an SID, you've done interviews for players that go out there and they're like, I got to do an interview again, and
Yeah.
no, man, come on, I don't want to do it. And same thing with me as a PR, the director of communications out here with the Lights. You would ask players like, "Can you do an interview?" I was like, I don't want to do it, man. Aaron Jones is the type of guy that I'm pretty sure the communications guy at Green Bay is super happy at having, because if he asks Aaron for an interview, he's going to go and do it with a smile on his face. He's going to go give everybody good quotes. He's going to be happy of the place that he's in, and that's something that I think there's NFL coaches, players, staff that give for granted of where they're at. Aaron doesn't give it for granted, man. He gives 100% on the field, but also off the field with all the community events, all the outreach that he does, but also the media. Things as simple as that. All the broadcasters, when they talk about him, they say, dude, this guy, he was super happy doing the interview with us, man. That's the kind of players that we want. We love to talk about because they give us good quotes, and they don't just do it because they're forced to do it, but because they want to do it. So Aaron Jones, if you don't have a fan club yet, I want to start it off for you, man.
Right, and then make sure you go get his cereal, the toasted touchdown squares.
I know, dude. It looks awesome. I want to get one. I want to see if they got them on eBay already.
No, well, they're on sale, but a little bit of breaking news, but by the Food King here in El Paso, so they should be hitting the racks soon.
Buy me
you
a
don't have to
box.
pay the
I'll
20 bucks
cash app
online
you.
right now. Right.
Buy me a box.
Be
I'll
good.
cash app
From what
you,
I'm
man.
being told, what I'm being told, Mrs. Jones says that they taste like I believe like cinnamon toast crunch. So
Well, it's going to be hard for me to choose my cereals in the morning now if I'm going to be eating
touchdown
Frosted
squares.
Flakes
Come on,
with
touchdown
Tony
squares.
the Tiger or what are they called again?
What is it? Aaron Jones's touchdown squares.
The
Toasted
toasted touchdown
Jones
squares. It's gonna be a tough choice for me. I gotta, sometimes eat those Kellogg's Frosted Flakes for the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl, which is gonna be on December 31st.
Oh, that's true. That's
So,
true. I forgot about that, man.
Hey,
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
mix them both.
Sorry,
Put 'em both.
you got
Put
it.
'em both.
Nah,
Put 'em both.
nah. Eddie has to stay corporate, man. He has to stick with the brand that's sponsoring, man.
It's a tough choice. You know what I mean? Who pays my bills these days?
So yeah, Tony.
I'll eat them
you gotta
for
go
you,
with the Bills.
Eddie. I'll eat them for you.
Hey,
Eddie.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
And also, what do we have to do for the NFL announcers to start calling Aaron Showtime Jones? I did it when he was at UTEP. I know Showtime's a big nickname in the pro level, but hey, man, when he gets the ball, it's Showtime.
It is.
Should we do what Mrs. Mahomes, Patrick's mom did? Stop calling my son Pat. Maybe do something like that on Twitter.
Yeah, that was ridiculous, man. I'm like, come on, it's Patrick. It's not like, for example, me. A lot of people call me Henry, and I'm like, that's a completely different name. It has nothing to do with Harry.
Henry.
Ladies and gentlemen, Henry Ruiz on the show today. Henry.
Wow.
So not people in the media, but I've had people. I had an intern who called me Henry for 3 months, and I never corrected her. And she would send me emails to my work email that clearly said Harry Ruiz, and I'm like, how can she not get my name right? I'm not gonna correct her, but I was like, hey, whatever. As long as she helps me out and she's an efficient intern, I'll let her keep going. But Patrick, it's like if Roberto, Bob. Or it's like there's names that have nicknames already associated with them. Pat, come on.
As long as I didn't say Patty, that's the one.
Exactly.
Throw out there, yeah. Pat and
Exactly.
Patrick, that's all right. I mean, I got so many nicknames, but I prefer the mayor. So.
Hey, that's the one I know, the mayor.
The mayor.
Harry, not Henry, Harry. Thank you so
you,
much.
Mayor. Thank you, Eddie.
Once again for joining us on the Sports and More podcast, giving us some inside looks at the Las Vegas Raiders. And again, where can people follow you and to get your inside looks?
So you can follow my personal social media on Twitter at Harry Ruiz, on Instagram at Harry_Ruiz. And then thank you, Ace, for putting this up again. This is my new project. At La Nacion Raider. You can find it that way on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. It's just the Raider Nation, but in Spanish, La Nacion Raider, LANACIONRAIDER. Hey, good. I didn't screw it up. At La Nacion Raider, you can find that. And I'll be talking about the Raiders in Spanish all week long ahead of every game. And hopefully we get a dub on Sunday, shock the world, and I'll be posting a lot about that if it happens. If it doesn't happen, I'll still be posting there about it. And I want to thank you guys for having me. I love the show, Eddie. You're the man. Ace, my brother. I miss you guys, and hopefully once I get back to El Paso, we can get together for some cereal or some cometa.
Exactly.
Once again, this is the Sports and More podcast, and we're down here at the Downtown Spaces at 522 San Francisco. You can come check it out for all your office needs. And again, Harry Ruiz, we thank you so much. Ace Acosta, my producer, thank you.
Harry.
And again, keep an eye out for the links so that you can watch a video if you want to see all of Harry's memorabilia that's right behind him. And thank you. We'll see you guys next week.